Okay. Okay, excellent. Okay, we'll now call to order the Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 Architecture Review meeting at 4:32. Roll call.
Committee Member King?
Here.
Committee Member Rivera?
Here.
Committee Member Kiefer?
Here.
Committee Member Haas?
Present.
Let the record show Chair Bouchard is absent today.
Okay, agenda finalization. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Excellent, excellent. We will now move on to public comments. This is the opportunity for members of the public to comment on any items not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the Architecture Review Committee may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The chair may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment, or may request a matter be agendized for a future meeting. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time?
Do we have anyone in the audience wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda? We have no one looking to
Okay.
speak.
In that case, we will now close public comments, move on to approval of minutes. On the approval of the September 18th, 2024 minutes. Any request to speak on this matter? No? Okay. In that case, let's do a vote to approve.
Okay, let the record show a motion was made by Committee Member King, seconded by Committee Member Kiefer to approve the September 18th, 2024 meeting minutes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, new business. We have item 3A, DR 23-002, General Plan Amendment 23-001, and Change of Zone 23-001. Review the project and recommend Planning Commission approval of the project.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for your time this evening. Cynthia Schultz, Associate Planner. So before you this evening is a request to consider a design review proposal for the project known as the Wren and forward that recommendation to the Planning Commission. So this project is subject to design review as well as to a general plan amendment and a change of zone. The property is currently zoned PCC, and the proposal includes a change of zone to R3 to accommodate the land use and the density at the proposed density. So here you see a vicinity map. The proposal is located at the northeast corner of Rosemont and Date Palm Drive. It's about a 10.5-acre parcel. The proposal is to construct 12 apartment buildings for a total of 204 units. 12 apartment buildings will be divided into 2 building types, the big house and the stack house. The big house is a 2-story apartment unit, and the stack house is a 3-story apartment unit. I'll get into those details of each of those, as well as the landscape plan and the amenity features of the community. The proposal also includes improvements to both Rosemont Road as well as to the access between Date Palm and 30th along where the Northgate Church is. These improvements include sidewalk and landscape associated with this project. The applicant has been communicating with the Northgate Church to arrive at a mutually acceptable agreement for the shared access on the north side. That agreement, which will outline the exact locations, maintenance, and among other things, is being negotiated, and an executed agreement is expected to be a condition of approval of the project. So here's the site plan. I apologize, the colors don't come out very bright here, but I wanted to illustrate some points here. The site is designed in a manner that respects the views to the west by situating the retention areas, which you can see here in this kind of darker color, all the way to the east. The retention area, the retention area is closest to the eastern boundary. It puts the 2-story buildings mid-site and then the 3-story buildings along the Date Palm side. You can also see in the center, sort of center-south of that site, you'll see the clubhouse. Just north of that is the pool area, which is, has a lot of amenity features with it as well. And then coming off of that is the turf area. It's a recreational turf area that the applicant is proposing to do something with in the future, depending on what his residents are looking for. So as I mentioned, one of the typologies, building typologies, is referred to as the big house. This is a 2-story building comprised of 10 units per building. Each of those units has a direct access to its own garage. The elevation and color scheme are shown in these images, and again, the colors don't come out really well. Hopefully they came out better on your screens that you can see in front of you. The elevations do indicate a maximum building height of 28 feet and 10 inches, which is below the 35-foot maximum height allowance. Here's a site plan, a sight line view shed for the mechanical equipment screening, as well as a floor plan just showing those individual access to those garages. This is the second building typology referred to as the stack house. The stack house is a 3-bedroom configuration with 24 units in each of those 6 buildings. 8 of those units have access to their own garages. You will also see similar here, the elevations. This one's in a sort of a terraced configuration. So it does reach the maximum of 35 foot in the highest point of that building, and that is the maximum height that's allowed in this particular district. You'll also see the color schemes for this particular building. They're very complementary to each other. They have black railings, black metal roofing, black metal railings for the balconies, and then slightly different color schemes for the siding treatments. So again, here's that sight line showing the equipment screening from the sidewalk, as well as a floor plan showing access to those individual garages. And as I mentioned, there are the common facilities, the amenity facilities, the clubhouse, which is centrally located on the site. The clubhouse includes a postal facility, a drop-off place for things like Amazon and other things of that nature, some event center or event space, fitness area, recreation space, and then the central management office. With respect to parking facilities, so most of the parking facilities are actually under carports. There are 100 parking spaces that are proposed to be under carports. There are 15 uncovered spaces, and then there are 108 spaces provided in private garages. Also on the right-hand side, you see the trash enclosure. I did want to point out that on the site plan, which was in the earliest slide there, we did achieve compliance on this project with the ADA requirements for parking, which is 2% of the total number of parking spaces, as well as with the number of EV spaces, which is 5% of the total number of spaces. The landscape plan, so I have a few views of different landscape plans. So these are oriented differently just so I could fit them on the page. To the right, you'll see the full site plan, north on the top, south on the bottom. On the left, you see a pool inset area. North is going to be oriented to the left of that. So I wanted to show this because you can see the amenities that are being proposed in the pool area. There are several amenities that are proposed there. There's a lift for both the spa and the swimming pool to make ADA compliance. The proposal does comply with the open space requirement. There's a requirement in the code for 300 square foot of open space per dwelling unit, and this one provides 450 open space square feet per unit. The landscape is compliant with the species and type and number of landscape requirements that we have in the code. I wanted to show an inset of the fencing that is proposed. This is the Rosemount feature wall. So along the Rosemount, which is considered to be the entrance to this facility, so as cars come off of Date Palm Drive, they will, visitors and residents both can use the Rosemount entrance. And as they come off, there will be what we call a feature wall. Front walls of all of the developments need to have some sort of articulation along that front wall. What our code would suggest, or what our code actually states, is that you can have one of two different types of wall on the front, and either 42 inches of solid wall or 6 feet of completely open wall. As I looked around the city and I looked at previous projects that have been approved by the city, I realized that we don't have a lot that are truly in compliance with those regulations, with that particular requirement, and it was really depending on zoning. What the applicant has proposed is this feature wall that breaks up the solid with some open space. So you see the grate or the metal portion that's open to the site. I think what this does is and I appreciate this because what it does is it increases the relationship between the site and the pedestrian along Rosemount Road. So we'll see probably more pedestrian activity on that road than we would maybe on Day Palm, although they'll use both routes. But this is going to have more interaction because vehicle travel speeds are a lower speed. This is the one that we really want to focus on. So having a better interaction, a better connection with the street route, with the tourists, with the pedestrians, between the pedestrians and the residents is really important on this. So although it doesn't comply necessarily to the letter, I think we do have support for this, and I think that staff would support this proposal for their fencing. The proposal also includes an aerial view of the entrance facility. The entrance has a gate, two-way gate, one for residents as well as one for visitors. So there's a call box there. They can turn around right there. If they're rejected at that call box, residents can proceed through the gate without delay. In the lower feature here, you can see the relief pockets along the Date Palm Drive approach. So the Date Palm Drive really has no openings in that wall at all. The access points are both on Rosemount and along that northern site exit access point is only for residents. This gives a perspective of the access, the main entrance to the site along Rosemount. Shows an example of the monument sign that's being proposed, and you can see that as well in the entrance feature here as well. I will have the applicant speak to the entrance, the different treatments on the entrance there, because there's a little bit of difference between the block wall and the open wall. Again, I think it comes down to aesthetic. We would support an open wall on this because it helps improve the relationship between the development and the public sphere and the private sphere. But we're willing to work with the applicant and with the ARC on what that proposal would be. Let's see. I wanted to make one more mention is that the proposal does comply with all R3 design requirements, including height, setbacks, open space, landscaping, and parking. One of the things I did not mention at the very beginning was that there is a change of zone that goes along with this. This recommendation will be forwarded onto the Planning Commission, and with that change of zone and general plan amendment, the proposal is to change it from the current zoning to an R3, which would accommodate. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions for me, I am happy to answer.
What is the current zoning?
The current zoning is a PCC, Planned Community Commercial.
I have a comment and a question. I'm going to jump ahead to architecture, which I think looks great. And I really like that the color palette kind of broke away from our regular fare of shades of beige. Yeah, I like seeing that green in there. So the question I have, and that said, the question I have is not architectural, but in light of Hillary that we endured, it seemed to me from memory that the church, adjacent church, fared pretty well in during that storm, but I don't recall, because there was nothing, it's a vacant lot, I really don't remember looking. Is there sufficient on-site surface retention?
So I can't speak specifically to Hillary, but I know that they do have retention planned for this, and the retention has been reviewed by engineering
Okay.
to make sure that there is adequate storage in there. I don't know if folks who've been here longer than I have been, if they want to speak to how Hillary impacts our standards.
It was definitely the worst. We've had bad, but that was definitely the worst. And I've been here since '84. And to my recollection, that was the worst.
And certainly, we do try to plan all of these for worst-case scenarios, although they're usually historic storms that we do plan for. That was an ahistoric storm, so.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
I have no comments. I think it looks great, honestly. The color is great. Architecture is great. The clubhouse was, that's top notch. Looks really nice.
Yeah, I agree. Everything looks really good.
Are there any issues with the change of use from PCC to get multifamily housing?
You know, the the general plan amendment would allow for contemplate a change of zone for that. I don't foresee any, as I've done my preliminary review with that. Where I think we would come to this is we really need housing production. We really need housing supply. This may not be affordable housing per se. It's probably going to be a moderate to higher end product, but it will help free up housing in the community. Excuse me. So I don't foresee an issue with that. I would note also that the city just published the notice of intent to accept an initial study and mitigated negative declaration associated with the project. So barring any major concerns with that will go forward to the Planning Commission. Barring any concerns that we see with that, I don't foresee any issues.
We definitely need the housing, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of movement with regard to commercial retail,
I think it's
restaurants at that part of Date Palm at this point in time. And this might be the type of project that could help spark some of that. So it's encouraging.
As our new economic development manager likes to remind me, rooftops drive retail. We need to have residents in this community. We're surrounded by a lot of vacation community. There's nothing wrong with that, certainly, but we do need residents that are dining at our restaurants year-round. We need people who are filling our jobs year-round, and I think this will help to do that.
Yeah, I think Date Palm could definitely use some work. That's what I hear most when I'm on the interwebs, is that the drive-in is just kind of sad. It's just bare bones, and I think this would be a good anchor to bring some other positive developments in.
Any questions, comments? No? Okay. Would the applicant like to speak at this time? We can open public comments. If there's any further information you wanted to present or add or woo us over even more.
Please
Hi
state your
there.
name.
I don't have any additional information. Thank you very much for the great presentation. Stefan Vogel. I introduced myself briefly to everyone.
This is for the record.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, this is obviously this is quite a bit of undertaking. I have almost my entire team here that helped create this vision. For me, it's also a bit of a passion project. I used to live for over 10 years on 30th and Avenida Alvera, which is 3 blocks to the west of Date Palm. And Mr. Kiefer, you're absolutely right. The entry corridor has been a little sad all this time. Originally, we weren't looking at this location per se. It kind of fell in our lap a little bit. And when I looked at the location, it just one thing led to another. We designed this, of course, with a couple of things in mind: a certain functionality for the residents. What kind of residents do we want to attract here, especially with keeping in mind that there's schools on 30th on both sides that this project will also cater to. We want to accommodate the Northgate Church, but also this being an entry corridor into Date Bomb, and most of the residential development there is all single-family housing. We wanted to make sure to, we'll leave a mark there. That's positive for us as the developer and the builder and the team, but that also speaks positive for the city and for an area that, that I have an emotional connection to. So that's basically.
Do you have an idea on the rent range at this point, or?
We haven't done a full study yet, but we're currently working on some other single-family residential developments that we're building in Renschamraj with a project management company that is based out of Cathedral City, but we haven't thrown them into full gear yet to do a market rent analysis yet, due to the fact that we need to get our entitlements done first.
Okay. No questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Excellent presentation. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this agenda item while public comments are open?
Do we have anyone?
Okay.
Looks like we have no one wishing to speak.
We'll go ahead and close public comments.
I don't have anything left to add.
Okay. Unless there was anything last minute. Ready to make a motion?
Yeah, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
That was great. I'll make a motion.
Are you having trouble, Committee Member King?
Kind of got
Can't
stuck.
find the thing again.
You wanted to say your vote out for the record?
I can't find that page on there.
Okay, well, what's your vote? I'll enter it for the record. If Committee Member Haas can. Thank you. Let the record show a motion was made by Committee Member Haas and seconded by Committee Member Kiefer to approve Design Review 23-002, General Plan Amendment 23001, and Change of Zone 23-001. Motion carried. All ayes.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
And thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing this built.
That's beautiful. Very thoughtful designs. Yeah.
Okay. Move on to item number 4, discussion of future agenda items.
Yes, Mr. Chairman or Vice Chair. We have a light calendar for the rest of the year, but we do anticipate one item on the upcoming meeting of November 6th. And then also for November 20th, we have tentative projects, but we don't have anything confirmed yet.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Committee member comments? No? Okay. This is your last chance to voice your grief with this. Okay. We'll move on to item 6, staff comments.
Okay, so we are looking at scheduling a joint meeting with the ARC and the Planning Commission next Tuesday. I think right now we're talking about a 9 o'clock start time, running until about noon. The idea behind this really is to take a tour of recently completed projects so that we can review, assess, discuss what worked, what may not have worked, and I think the timing of this is great right now in terms of our zoning code update. We are initiating a zoning code update, and that will include an update of our design guidelines. So, getting together, starting to talk about some of the things that have worked, some of the things that haven't worked. I think that is good feedback as we start this zoning code update. As well, I think this will improve the working relationships between the ARC and the PC. I think this request actually came from the chair of this committee that we look at getting the two groups together for socializing and just building those working relationships. So I think we can accomplish all of that, and we're looking forward to doing that on Tuesday. Right now, we do have a list of preliminary projects, and I'll share this memo with everyone, but we're looking at, and this list may get pared down before then, but The Habit, Dave's Hot Chicken, Denny's, some residential projects with Newport 17, Newport 5, Atomic Buds, Desert Lexus, Veterans Village, the Quick Quack Car Wash, various cannabis uses on Perez Road. Two projects that didn't necessarily come before the ARC, but where I think there's been some critical feedback. That's the Tortillas Restaurant and Casablanca. We can have some open discussion about that. It's all fair. I think these are great topics, great discussion points. So I'll share this memo with you, and if there are other projects that you would like to have on the agenda, let us know. We're happy to look at what we can get in a 3-hour window. If there's some on here that you just don't want to talk about, let us know as well. So we're happy to get that feedback.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any updates on the mall over here across the street?
So that is still very much tentative. The developer has run into issues with SoCal Gas and SoCal Edison, and I think that has presented some delays in terms of the overall infrastructure and getting the paving down. So right now, I think we're looking at December, possibly, when those restaurants may be open, but it's still very much tentative, and the developer is still very much dependent on resolving those issues with the utility companies.
Sounds about right. Nirvana Estates, it just popped in my head. Is anything going on with that? We looked at it, what? Feels like a year ago.
Yes, the update is that they, the developer that moved the project forward has sold it, but he did have a rough grading plan approved and a permit issued. The new buyer has now turned it over to a new builder, Shea Homes, and so we do expect that that will be moving forward with the final map and the homes.
We do see that as a positive move, though.
Yeah, they're a big builder. Would it be this, what we approved already, the designs and so forth, or will there be a new set?
We haven't seen anything come in from Shea. I think they want to be fairly consistent, but they will make a few minor modifications to either the footprint or the architectural elevations.
Sounds like movement in the right direction, at least. I think I saw some movement on those 2 dilapidated units on Cathedral Canyon as well. Someone buy those, or does anybody know?
Is that the eightplex?
Yeah.
Yes. Permits have been issued for that. I apologize. I don't know offhand where it's at in the process, but
That's all I need to hear.
permits have been issued.
Well, they had started, and then it was like they got shut down.
Yeah, the
Stop.
owner passed away.
No, I know that. After it was sold recently, they were doing work on the one, and then gone.
Let me see if I can get a status update on that before
And
the
there's
next
2
meeting.
huge culverts in the back looking, what are those? That's very strange.
I'll get an answer.
Okay. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Industrial sewer pipes, they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get an
Are
answer.
they doing an underground bunker or something? Right? That's what it looks like.
Each unit comes with a bunker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it sounds all positive, honestly.
There's a lot of positive.
Everything moves slow, but it moves.
I think the Date Palm Drive corridor has been a center of focus for a lot of projects, a lot of activity. We're seeing continued discussion. Our new economic development manager was at ICSC Western and was engaged with a lot of prospective retailers, developers, and there's a lot of eyes on the Date Palm Drive corridor. So
And the project, was it ice skating rink that was taking Big Lots and the museum? Is that still in the works?
no.
No.
I don't know about that project, but there is a tenant in the Big Lots space that it is temporary, and I believe will be
Couple.
there for a year or 2 years or so.
Right.
I think the tribe is using that as a temporary warehousing facility for their hotel renovation project outside of the city.
Okay. No, that's what they brought up, though, and I was like, for the 2 years, they were going to put that money into it, and it didn't seem to make sense. Yeah.
Acrisure might have sealed their fate. Yeah, it's exciting to see this movement on Date Palm. I kind of recall from the 90s that Date Palm was kind of reintroduced to the city as the Golden Mile. And it kind of went so far and then just stopped. And I've been waiting for years now to see if there's any interest in the former Walmart property, something to kind of bring that back to life.
And that is one of the sites that I would say has been a source of discussion in economic development. And we heard about some prospective tenants, some prospective retailers that may be going in that site. It's too early to really make that public, but I think that it is a topic of discussion right now, and that was a focal area at ICSC Western.
Oh, that's good to hear. I mean, I think there's a great opportunity there for the right project.
There is.
Okay. Well, if there are no other staff comments, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
We will adjourn at 5:02 PM.